Hello friends, and welcome back. I'm Jessica, and today we're going to talk about a part of the day that quietly shapes the rest of your life. It's not the early morning with its alarms and commutes, it's not the afternoon with its meetings and deadlines. It's the hours after work, the stretch of time when the world grows a little softer, the notifications slow, and you have a chance, often a missed one, to choose how the end of your day will feel. This episode isn't a checklist, and it isn't a promise of overnight perfection. It's a conversation about why evenings matter so much, why they slip through our fingers, and how a handful of gentle choices can turn them into something restorative, meaningful, and genuinely yours. If you're like most people, the evening begins with a small exhale. The door closes, the bag goes on the chair, shoes off, lights down, and there's a moment when the mind unhooks from the day. That first moment is powerful, because it sets the tone for everything that follows. Reach for your phone and the algorithms greet you with an easy path, a clip of someone's perfect kitchen, a headline that spikes your stress, a reel that makes you laugh and then another that doesn't, and then 20 minutes later the laughter fades, the nervous energy remains, and the night is already thinner. Turn on a series, just for one episode, and the autoplay gently answers for you. It feels harmless because you're not doing anything obviously destructive. You're home. You're tired. You deserve a break. And it's true that you deserve rest. What's also true is that passive consumption rarely gives the body and mind the kind of rest they're really asking for. It's the difference between eating candy when you're hungry and sitting down to an actual meal. Both end the feeling of emptiness for a while, but only one leaves you stronger. This is not an argument against TV or social media. They can be fun, connective, and even inspiring. What I want is for you to feel the ownership that evenings can give you when you approach them with intention. The evening is a second chance built into every day. No matter what happened in the morning or afternoon, you get another window to steer yourself toward the life you actually want. Think of it as a quiet studio where you can repair, reset, and make something small that matters. When you use that studio well, you sleep more deeply, you wake up steadier, and the next day stops feeling like a wave that tosses you around. You begin to ride it. To change the evening, the first step is awareness. Not the harsh, judgmental kind of awareness that circles around blame, but the simple, curious kind that looks at what is and says, interesting. Notice what typically pulls you off course. Maybe it's the way you put your phone on the kitchen counter, and every time you pass it the screen lights up with a badge that whispers your name. Maybe it's the couch line of sight straight to the TV remote. Maybe it's the habit of opening a food delivery app even though you have ingredients for something simple you enjoy. None of these are failures. They're just patterns. Once you see a pattern, you can interrupt it with a small, easy friction point. Put the phone in another room for an hour. Move the remote out of reach and put a book where the remote used to be. Jot down 3 dinner options on a sticky note before you leave work so the decision is already made when your energy is at its lowest. The point isn't to make your life rigid, it's to make the helpful choice just a little easier than the unhelpful one. When we spend our evenings reactively, we pay for it twice. We pay in the moment with drifting attention and a sense of, where did my time go? And we pay again the next morning with lower energy and more mental clutter. Sleep research and basic human experience agree on this: the hour before bed is a hinge. What you do with it changes how easily your body downshifts. Blue light blasting your eyes, suspenseful action scenes, or emotionally charged comment threads keep your nervous system alert. Gentle movement, quiet reading, low light, and simple preparation signals safety. And when your body gets the safety signal, your sleep deepens. The following day is easier. Your focus sharpens. You don't need a laboratory to prove this. Try it for 3 nights and you'll feel the difference. Evenings also carry a secret advantage. They exist outside the performance demands of most jobs and schools. They are yours, assuming you're not working a night shift or caring for small children every minute, and even then there are pockets. In that space you can plant the tiny seeds that grow into competence and confidence. 10 minutes of language practice. A page of notes on a course you care about. A short walk where you let your shoulders drop and your breath get longer. 2 paragraphs in a journal to clear your head from the day and sketch a plan for tomorrow. None of this requires heroic discipline. It requires a shift from autopilot to intention, and intention doesn't need to be grand to be powerful. A small daily action repeated is stronger than a perfect plan abandoned. Let me offer a way to think about the evening without turning it into another productivity contest. Imagine the evening as 3 overlapping circles: restoration, growth, and preparation. Restoration is what returns you to yourself, the activities that quiet the nervous system and refill the battery: light stretching, a warm shower, a conversation with someone who listens without trying to fix you, a chapter from a novel that invites your mind to a different room, a short meditation that teaches your thoughts to flow instead of tangle. Growth is what aims your time toward a skill or curiosity, reading about a topic that lights you up, practicing a scale if you're learning an instrument, sketching for 15 minutes, reviewing a new recipe, trying a few sentences in a language you're learning. Preparation is what reduces tomorrow's friction, laying out clothes, packing a bag, writing a short to-do list, choosing breakfast, clearing the table so the morning meets you calmly. You don't need to label these circles as you live them. They're a gentle mental model to keep the evening from collapsing into one thing only. Many nights, one circle will be enough. On good nights, you'll touch all 3 without forcing it. This is the part where someone usually asks for a schedule, and while there is no schedule that fits every life, I'll walk you through a common arc that many people find supportive. Picture the clock landing around 6 in the evening. You've arrived home or you've stepped away from your workspace, and your body is buzzing with the momentum of the day. Rather than dropping into a chair immediately, try a quick reset ritual. Open a window, even for a minute, and let new air in. Put on music that slows your breathing. Do a loop around the block or a few minutes of gentle movement, hips and shoulders and neck, not as a workout but as a signal to your body that the gear is changing. This small intermission separates work you from home you. It doesn't require time you don't have. 5 to 15 minutes is enough to change the channel. After the reset, feed yourself. If you share your home, make the meal a time to connect. Put the phones face down or in another room and actually taste your food. Ask better questions than, "How was your day?" Try, "What surprised you today?" or "What did you learn?" If you live alone, make the table welcoming anyway. Light a candle, play a podcast, plate your food instead of eating from the container. You're telling yourself that you are worth the extra minute, and that message seeps into the rest of your choices. When dinner ends, clear the surface you ate on. That micro cleanup is not about being neat for neatness's sake, it's about removing a subtle stressor from your environment so the evening doesn't carry the visual weight of unfinished tasks. With the body fed and the space calmer, choose a single focus for a short learning or creative block. 20 minutes is plenty. If you've been meaning to read, set a timer and disappear into a chapter. If you're building a skill, pick a piece so small that you can finish it, one exercise, one page, one section, one dialogue to rehearse. The trick is to enter the block without negotiating. Decision fatigue is the enemy here. Solve that by pre-deciding before the evening begins, perhaps during lunch, what the tiny focus will be. Write it on a sticky note or in your phone so you don't have to invent it when your willpower is thinner. You're not trying to become an expert in a night. You're laying a brick, and tomorrow you'll lay another. A wall appears that way. Once your small focus block ends, step toward something that's pure joy or soft rest. Make tea and sit in a chair you love. Put on music and stretch near the floor with the lights lower. Take a shower that marks the turning point toward sleep. Scroll if you must, but keep the container small and the content kind. The moment the scrolling ceases to feel like play and begins to feel like compulsion, put the phone away. If you find that edge hard to notice, set a boundary outside of yourself, alarms, app limits, or the oldest and best boundary of all, leaving the device in another room. Before bed, give tomorrow a small gift. Place what you need by the door. Check your calendar not to worry but to orient. Jot down the 3 most important things for the next day and let everything else be optional. If you want to go further, write one sentence to your morning self, something like, "Start slow, coffee first, then draft the email," or "You did enough today, tomorrow is a new page." Close the notebook. Turn off the bright lights and protect your last half hour from urgent input. This is the hour when your mind cleans itself, literally and metaphorically. The calmer you make it, the more thoroughly it does its work. If all of this sounds lovely and also completely unrealistic, remember that you don't have to do all of it, and you certainly don't have to do it in order. Start with the smallest lever that would make the biggest difference. For many people, it's notifications. A single setting change, silencing non-essential pings after 8 returns vast amounts of attention. For others, it's bedtime. Pick a time that's true for your life, not a fantasy time that collapses under the first late commute, and aim to protect it most nights. Consistency beats extremity. Another powerful lever is a phone-free pocket. Even 20 minutes without the device changes the texture of your evening. Put it in a different room and notice how your mind reaches for it and then, after a minute or two, stops reaching. That quiet is where you'll hear your own thoughts again. Mindset is the scaffolding that holds these changes while they're still fragile. The instinct to overhaul everything at once is strong, but it almost always burns out. Begin smaller than you think you should. 10 minutes of reading is not a consolation prize, it is the foundation of a reading life. 5 stretches on the floor won't turn you into a yogi, and they're not supposed to. They remind your body that it belongs to you before you hand it to sleep. If you miss a night, you haven't failed, you've collected information about what gets in your way. Use that information. If cooking is the stumbling block, prep ingredients on Sunday or choose 2 easy dinners and loop them until boredom, then swap. If social media pulls you every time at the same hour, schedule a deliberate check earlier so you don't feel deprived, or make the apps live on a different screen to add 1 second of friction before you open them. Tiny design choices change behavior more reliably than vague vows. Let's talk about the nights that don't go well, because they will happen. You'll plan to read and instead you'll get caught in a thread that makes your heart rate jump. You'll promise yourself to stop at 1 episode and watch 4. You'll intend to turn out the lights at 10 and find yourself wide-eyed at midnight, wondering where the time went. On those nights, you don't need a lecture, you need a pause. Name what happened without dramatizing it. I got hooked. I was lonely. I was tired and didn't want to feel it. Then, if there's still time, salvage something small. Turn off the harsh light and breathe for 3 minutes with your hand on your chest, in through the nose, out slower than you think possible. Put a glass of water by the bed. Set one loving instruction for morning, something gentle and clear. Walk 10 minutes after breakfast. Go to sleep. Tomorrow is not a punishment, it's a reset. If you share your life with other people, you might worry that an intentional evening means retreating from them. The opposite is usually true. When you're less frayed, you're kinder. When you've taken 15 minutes to put your mind in order, you listen better. You can even make the evening a shared project. Invite your partner into a quiet half-hour where each of you does your own thing nearby. Read next to each other. Stretch on parallel yoga mats. Prepare for tomorrow side by side, shoes lined up like a small promise. If you have kids, let them see you unwind without a screen sometimes. Children model what they witness more than what they're told, and you'll teach them that rest can be active and soothing rather than purely digital. You might be hearing all of this and thinking, I don't have time. I believe you. But time is not only measured by the hour, it's measured by the quality of attention you bring to it. A 20-minute block of focused reading will give you more than an hour of distracted skimming. A 10-minute tidy and prep will save you 30 stressed minutes in the morning. A consistent bedtime shifts how every waking hour feels. And here is the gentle truth underneath the logistics: you deserve an evening that treats you like a human being, not a machine that ran out of battery and needs to be plugged in until it reboots. You deserve a closing ritual that tells your nervous system, you're safe now. You deserve a small daily step toward the person you want to become. When I say that evenings are a second chance, I don't mean you should cram them with achievement. I mean you can close the gap between the life you perform for and the life you actually experience. If your days are loud, make your evenings quiet. If your days are sedentary, let your evenings move. If your days are full of people, give your evenings a pocket of solitude. If your days are lonely, call someone who lets you be fully yourself. Use the evening as a counterweight. Balance is not a final state, it's a series of tiny adjustments. The evening is where many of those adjustments happen. As you start, you'll find that one change becomes the lever for others. Silence notifications and suddenly your book pile shrinks. Eat an earlier, simpler dinner and bedtime stops sliding. Put your phone in another room for the last half hour and your breathing deepens without you trying. Prepare tomorrow's bag and the morning becomes less combative. A small routine forms almost by accident, and then you protect it because of how it makes you feel. That feeling, a blend of steadiness and lightness, is the best argument for keeping the routine alive. I want to end where we began, with the idea of ownership. The world will always be happy to spend your evening for you. There will always be one more episode, one more thread, one more sale that ends tonight. You are not wrong for wanting the easy path at the end of a hard day. But here's the invitation: take 5 minutes to choose on purpose. Name the one thing tonight that will restore you, the one tiny step that will grow you, and the one small action that will prepare you. Let the rest of the evening be unremarkable if it must. Perfection is not required. Presence is. So when you finish listening, do something that breaks the old pattern. Stand up and stretch while the kettle boils. Put your phone to sleep in a different room. Open the window for fresh air and let the city or the quiet country come in. Write down one sentence for tomorrow you. Read a page. Lie down on the floor and feel the ground hold your back. Take a walk with no destination and notice the way the streetlights make little islands on the pavement. Wash your face slowly. Speak kindly to yourself the way you would to someone you love who had a hard day. These are not small because they're brief. They're small because they fit. And when an action fits your real life, it lasts. Thank you for spending this time with me. I hope you leave with a softer attitude toward yourself and a clearer sense of what your evenings can be. You don't have to save every night to change your life. Save one tonight, then another tomorrow, and watch how the days begin to steady under your feet. The evening is waiting, patient and generous, ready to become the most humane part of your schedule. Step into it with intention. Give yourself what you actually need. Close the day well so the next one opens better. And if you forget and fall back into old habits, that's okay. The beautiful thing about evenings is that they keep coming. There's always another chance to try again.